What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Brunch with DESB. I'm your host, Des, also known as DESB, and today, the B stands for baby, and the baby is a they, because we'll talk about it in a little bit. I'm so excited to be back. I literally just posted it on my Instagram story on Brunch with DESB. I have been itching to just talk some shit with you guys. Like, it has been a couple weeks since I recorded. Since like the beginning of December. So really like 3 weeks off that I didn't have to record, which honestly was a much needed break for me to not be down here by myself. And I was so busy. Family was in holiday season. You guys get the vibes. But regardless, it's been a minute. And so I've been waiting to just sit down and like rattle the fuck off. Like, I'm going off today. Get ready. So first and foremost, I'm pregnant. Yeah, I hope if you heard that you didn't miss last week's episode, because it was a little bit of like an ominous title. So I think last week's episode was Baby, You're a Firework. So I kind of played into the New Year's vibe. Some people do fireworks. I personally don't, but I do know a lot of people do. And then I kind of played into like this patriotic vibe because I'm due July 4th. So if you, oddly enough, didn't listen to last week's episode, this is awkward, but I am pregnant. I am almost 14 weeks. So very exciting, very fun. I kind of feel a little bit more empowered sharing now because I'm like kind of getting excited, but I'm also like just kind of getting nervous because specifically today I scheduled my anatomy scan, and that is just a really big trigger for me. And I honestly hate that word. Like, I hate the word trigger. I think it's just so like overused, but you guys get the point. Like, it really is something that, thinking about it, brings my blood pressure up. My heart rate starts to go up. My heart palpitates. Like, I feel like I can hear my heartbeat when I talk about it. It's very scary for me. I feel like it's scary for any mom, to go into. Like, it's a very invasive thing. And it's the first time you're seeing your baby, that doesn't look like a jelly bean. So there's just a lot of emotions, and then take a traumatic experience on top of it. Lord, take the wheel, So, struggling with that, excited for that, but struggling for that. And we are not finding out the gender this time around. So that's why I said, So that's why I said they, because I don't know what they are. I don't know what it is. However, sometimes I feel like when I refer to the baby as them or they, it sounds like multiple people. Like, does anyone else get that? Like, that's why it confuses me, is like the pronouns they, them. I understand it can like embody anything, but to me, whenever I hear it, my initial thoughts goes to like how many people. It doesn't sound like a singular person. Does that make sense? So I'm like, it sounds like there's multiple. I can assure you, as of right now, there is only one. So it has been a whirlwind of feelings going into this new year. I did find out at the beginning of November, so right after Halloween, like 2 days after Halloween. So it was quite the shock to be carrying the past couple months, only knowing and no one else knowing. So it has been a lot, and I've gone through a lot, and we've entered into now a new year. We're ushering in new vibes, new energy. I'm very excited. So welcome into 2024 in a new era of me, of DBFT, of Brunch with DESB, of me being a mom, of me being a business owner, of me being an influencer. I don't even know what I am right now, to be honest. But that is one thing I really want to be better at this pregnancy and postpartum, is to remember who I am. It's so easy in those first couple of weeks, days, months postpartum to really lose sight of like what you still enjoy doing and what you want to do and what fills your cup. And I really want to get better at accepting help this time around, not feeling like I have to get up and do things right away. Like, oh, I have to get the laundry done. Like, I just really want to sink into who I am and what I want to do in that moment. If that's snuggling with the baby, it's that. If it's playing with Archie and Maddox, it's that, whatever. But I just want to be present, which in turn, relating to postpartum, I really don't want to lose sight of who I am. I don't want to just fall back into mom, postpartum mom. You guys get it. So anyways, 2024, welcome new listeners, maybe welcome people looking for a new podcast. I'm your girl. We don't do much around here besides chat. No expectations. And in my opinion, sometimes those are the best podcasts to listen to because it always keeps you on your toes. It keeps you fresh and it feels very conversational. Like sometimes I envy people who have more orchestrated podcasts, but I figured, my talent in how I like to podcast is to just talk. Not many people can just talk and show up for an hour, once a week and just ramble and it like kind of flow. And I love how I've created my podcast to truly just be a conversation that I'm feeling in that week. I don't plan ahead. I might have a topic I'd want to maybe talk about, but I don't like script anything. I just come down here. Like I literally just ate dinner, told Wyatt I'm going to go record my podcast. I'm down here. I have no notes. I have no nothing. The only thing I did know I wanted to do was answer a few questions today from you guys as listeners. So if you're entering into this new year, first, let's chat about a few things that are on my mind. Number one, 6 weeks to slay is closed, but it's like kind of still open because I know a lot of you guys get FOMO last minute. I always get messages Sunday through like Tuesday and Wednesday. Let's just say the first week of the challenge. And people are like, I wish I would have signed up. When's the next challenge? Whatever. We just started today. Like first workouts dropped today. They drop every Saturday on your app for like the next week. We're fresh. We're new. The community is humming. It's vibing. Like the difference is so evident of like when we had it that one time in the membership versus now. Vibes are extremely different. Like it's so much better. Everyone is like introducing themselves. There's so many like first time moms, postpartum moms, working women, people newly engaged. Like it's so cool to see the evolution of like all of you guys with me because when I first started doing challenges, I was technically still single. Like I was just dating Wyatt, but like I wasn't married. I wasn't like I was just graduating college, so like life was fun and fresh. And I remember having a ton of like 18-year-olds, 21-year-olds, 22, et cetera. And now we have women who are, 38, 42, 51, like 37, 28, 29, you get it. So it's really cool to see it just evolve into grown ass women, like women trying to balance all the things on their plate every single day while taking care of themselves. So if you still want to join Slay, join us. You can do that below in the show notes, description box, link in bio, whatever the fuck it is. And join us before it's too late. Our next challenge won't be till April, 6 weeks to shreds. I am doing all of my challenges and programs and stuff during pregnancy as I have before. And I will continue to be a testimony that you can do them during and after. So I'm excited to also share this new journey alongside all of you guys who maybe aren't even in the phase of like trying to conceive yet or pregnant, but to give you guys the motivation of knowing when that time comes for you, you're still taken care of here. I want to just really drive home to like how proud I am of what I do, what my team does, and how educated we are in pre and postnatal. Because a lot of people I see pumping out programs and promoting programs don't have the pre-postnatal background. Nonetheless, they don't have additional education. I'm not saying every single person has to have a 4-year degree to be of excellence. However, I take a lot of pride in myself that I did go to school for exercise physiology, as well as, have the biomechanics background, have an athletic background, athletic training background, physical therapy assistant background, EMT background. I don't even know if you guys knew that. Like I went to school to be an EMT. I just didn't take the written exam, but my main goal was to be an EMT during my off seasons of volleyball to make money during college. So that's why I did EMT school. Regardless, went on. Now I'm here. And so I just take a lot of pride of like the true education and passion I have for helping women, especially in pre-postnatal phases. And just what I stand by behind that. I know I will take care of you guys, and so will my team, and I just have a lot of pride in that. Okay. So anyway, let's talk about what's in it, what's in, what's out. So 6 weeks to slay is in. What's out is 75 hard. Okay, ladies, we've talked about it here. All right, we're going into a new year. I had caught wind of a few mega influencers who are promoting fucking 75 hard for New Year's. I hate it. Like, and the thing is, I can hate it without directly like hating the influencer themselves. Like, separate these two concepts, okay? I know it's hard for us to do nowadays for some reason, but decompartmentalize this, or compartmentalize, whatever the fuck. To promote such an unsustainable regimen for a lot of the population on such a large scale is so fucked up to me, because the amount of women that are then following these women doing 75 hard, they don't know proper core connection, diaphragmatic breathing. These are, maybe you have women in this community recovering from C-section, recovering from birth, never having recovered from either XYZ, right? Or just in general, working women who are busy and now placing these unrealistic expectations on themselves to do 75 hard. Now, on the opposite end, I'll get people who are like, well, you know, it helped me mentally and blah, blah, blah. That's good for you, because again, some people can pick from the buffet of 75 hard and choose what they would like to take from it. Most people go into 75 hard without an experience or background and utilize it as something that is going to transform them in those 75 days. They do not take education from it. They don't take, okay, well, I won't do this because this doesn't suit me, I'll do this instead. They don't do that. Most of the people that do 75 hard. Now, you'll have the anomalies who do it and succeed, and those are the people that they're going to promote, and the people that you're going to see their posts. You're not going to see the people who failed. The algorithm won't push that shit, okay? You'll see the people who succeeded, and it'll make you want to do it. Listen, I'd rather do 6 weeks to slay with badass women for 42 days. I don't have to do 2-a-days. I don't even have to work out 5 days a week if I don't want to. I don't have to go to the gym. I don't have to read a fucking book. I don't have to, whatever the hell all their other stuff is, get like 30 minutes of perineal shining a day. I don't know. You don't have to do any of that. I'll do that for 42 days then to commit to 75 days of literally death. And some people will argue, well, it's because you would never do it. You're damn fucking right, okay? I've done some hard shit in my life. You won't catch me voluntarily doing something like 75 hard. So if that is something you blinked and thought, oh, new year, new me, 75 hard to start, I need you to just throw it in reverse right now. I need you to ask yourself some questions and go soul searching and decide that that is not for you. Or how can the approach work for you in a very manipulated way? So New Year's obviously rolling into just new vibes, new energy. It's so important, guys. If you are holding on and harvesting things that have happened from last year, it is January, by the time 7th? It is January 7th, I believe, today. We're a week in, okay? If we're harvesting emotions from last year, XYZ, you're only going to cause bigger problems for yourself. So roll into this year with that energy you had on the 31st. New vibes, new beginnings. Let that shit go, okay? I don't care what happened. I don't care who slept with who hurt your feelings, XYZ. Your feelings are valid. However, if that situation is dead and gone, can you control it any more than what has already happened and what came of it? Probably not. I can think of quite a few situations last year in the totality from January to February where if I thought about it right now and sat here and spiraled about it, I could feel a certain way. Tell me what that's going to do for me in this day, in this moment. Absolutely nothing. You can choose to march on to your own beat and do your own thing, or dwell on whatever the hell happened. That's up to you. The only energy it's going to relate to and destroy is your own. So if you're someone who has had a rough start to the week, rough start to the year, a new year doesn't mean necessarily a clean slate in terms of nothing bad's going to happen, right? Maybe you already had an issue with your car. Maybe you have to get a duct to replace in your house. I don't know what could happen, right? Don't let that aura of energy also determine the outlook for the rest of the year. One of the things I went into the past couple years, and specifically last year, was really having an idea of like what I wanted to see for myself by the end of the year, what I wanted to do, picked back up YouTube, like all of these things. I had these really big goals. And although it worked really well for me for a couple months and those goals that I had and what I wanted out of it felt aligned, it very quickly didn't. And I look back at what I set out to do last year and I almost feel like a failure for writing out what I did and not accomplishing like almost quite literally any of them. So for a moment, I kind of sat back and I was almost disappointed in myself. Like, wow, was last year a flop? Like what? What? And then as I stepped further back and then looked at the year and was like, look at all these beautiful things that had happened. I'm like, why would I let something I wrote down on a piece of paper or just like, spoke out loud or put on a fucking vision board take away from the beauty of what still came from me last year and what was obviously for me? And that was a huge lesson I had last year too, is just if it's not for you, it will be taken from you or it will not be given to you. It is so true that and I've said it over and over again. You guys are probably tired of hearing it if you listen to the podcast religiously, but if it was given to you right now, would you be ready? In most cases, no. I think of my biggest dreams right now, right? I think of if I could snap my fingers right now and how maybe my life would look or what my business would look like or my family or whatever, would I genuinely be prepared for it? And the answer is absolutely fucking not. In no way, shape, or form. I am still learning things. I am still maturing, naturally. I'm growing another child, XYZ. My life is exactly where it needs to be. So when I think back at those goals I made, and if they came true, my life wouldn't be where it is now. And also, I could have seen those goals come into fruition and completely fuck them all up. Completely just mess it all up for myself, right? Because I wouldn't know how to react or I wouldn't know how to properly execute on whatever said goal was or whatever said perfect scenario happened and was handed to me. Now, on the other end, you could argue well, if it happens, you spring into action, messy action. That's another thing I like to talk about too, is taking messy action and being okay with doing things wrong, but also learning through them. However, if we're talking on the scale of genie comes down, grants your 3 wishes, and you get everything you want in one moment, yeah, I would probably fuck that up. So don't get so caught up this year in writing down what you want to see. There's certain things you can write down. I think of some fitness goals of mine or some certain tangible things that make sense. I want to work on my hip flexors and my quads. I really want to focus on my mobility there again and stuff. That's not going to make or break me feeling like shit about myself. If my quads are still kind of tight by the end of the year, I'm not going to count that as a flop of my year. But when you start tying certain things to your worth by the end of the year because you wrote them out and it didn't come to fruition, or I see on TikTok, how I manifested $500,000 in my bank account, whatever. It's when you start to tie certain things to it, it just becomes so out of reach. But even if mentally you feel like you're there, if you looked at it at the end of the year and say you gave yourself so much grace, wow, I still did really good this year, whatever. If you saw that unhit goal, you would question the rest of what you would do. So I am not a huge advocate this year of doing a vision board or having a written goal or put this as your screensaver. I love the idea, but I think for me, I get too competitive with myself and too attached to it. So if you're someone who you feel like you can detach and be oh yeah, hey, didn't make it this year, but I'll do it next year. All props to you, go for it. But I know that's just not how I necessarily operate. And it's just, I feel last year specifically and the past couple years, it's just hindered me. I even look at my vision board from what would have been the year Archie was born. So 2022. Yeah. Okay. So 2 years ago now, whatever. 2022. I think of my vision board that I made, and I made this picture and I really spent time on it. I, Googled images and made it in Canva and I made it all cool. And I look back at that, and the only thing that really came out of fruition of these photos I remember putting together was my family. I was proud of it. I had an ultrasound picture at the time Archie ended up being healthy, at the end of the year. But everything else on that kind of didn't hit, So I think I'm kind of more aligned this year with a little bit of like words. I think putting words to your year, if you're chasing after said word and defining your year with said word, I think naturally you will accomplish what you want or what you need. So my words for the year are communication, leadership, and I guess you can kind of say the word alignment. Like I want to just always feel fulfilled doing what I'm doing. Now, some days we're not going to like what we do, like naturally, right? Like some days you hate your job, some days you hate this, some days whatever. But overall, I want to feel like I'm moving towards my true north. Okay. It doesn't always have to be like a skyrocket, but maybe it's, slowly but surely, like, you get it. And maybe I'll see some dips here and there. Like that's growth. It's inevitable. So with those three words being kind of this trajectory I see my 2024 going into, by just having these words and kind of placing these words on a pedestal, I naturally will run every decision through these words, right? So maybe, for example, like if I'm talking to Wyatt about something, right? Okay, do I feel aligned in this conversation? Am I communicating properly? And then leadership, maybe that doesn't fall into that. But in general, like, am I doing those things? That's going to lead me to how I want to be by the end of the year, how I want to grow by the end of the year. And leadership can mean a lot of different things too. To lead isn't to be in like a top position. It's just to not be a follower. I don't want to continue, not that I ever purposely did, but I would never want to just blindly follow things. Like I want to lead my own life. I want to be a leader in my own life. I want to lead myself. I don't want to be a sheep. I don't want, I want to go out. I want to get the answers for myself. I want to do more research. I want to be better, whatever, with my family. I want to lead my family to success or happiness, XYZ. So like these words can capture a lot of different things. So if your word that comes to you is like trust, it doesn't just mean like, oh, like I need to trust my boyfriend. Like I need to trust whatever. It can be like different things too. So I would encourage you more so this year to continue to pick and pull some words. And maybe every month is a different word. Like it doesn't mean your words have to stay the same all year either, which again, I think is where we go back to like the goal setting and stuff. We have this idea that, oh, these goals have to stay the same all year. Maybe you get to January or you go from January to June or July and you're like, man, this second goal doesn't really feel like me anymore. Like maybe your goal is to like be fluent in Spanish. I don't know. And by July, you're like, that just doesn't feel aligned with me anymore. Like you're allowed to change your goals. Again, I just feel like goal setting in the new year in a certain aspect can just be so toxic. And again, TikTok, reels on Instagram, videos of other people, us intaking other people's lives consistently makes us wonder if we're doing our own life wrong. So when I see people doing these end of year traditions and what come with me at girls' night, we're all going to manifest and make our vision boards. I'm like, am I doing it wrong? Like, is this why I'm not successful? Point, like, quote unquote, I'm just making a point of like how we could all feel coming across those videos. Is this why I don't have friends? Like, cause I don't do manifesting nights, I don't go to Bible study. Like, I don't know. So it's just kind of my thought on the new year. So if you're struggling with that in this new year, new vibe, that's how I feel. And I hope that you can kind of relate on a certain level. We're 1 week into the new year already. And whether we like it or not, a year is just another year and a day is just another day. But it is our opportunity, though, to reset, realign, and kind of move towards our true north. And it's not always going to be a linear travel. And you might find your true north changes. Your true passion might change. Your projection might change. Your direction might change. And I think it's important too to realize that some years are just going to be learning years. Some years are just going to be rebuilding years. Whether you've gone through something traumatic or you're just kind of coming out of a season of life. I've met quite a few of you guys recently who have like gone through really hard breakups or divorces or stuff like that. So that's just one example of kind of this year. It doesn't always have to be your best year is also what I'm saying. You know, like we're always focused on outdoing ourselves, but being better than the past version of us in all ways, you know, financially and physically and all these things. Some years we're going to walk out the same, if not worse. And that's also okay. We don't have to feel like we are the highest versions of ourselves. You know, it's okay to walk into a new year damaged and not feeling like completely reborn. So no matter where you're at right now, just meet yourself where you're at. Again, maybe try just like a few words or one word that you really want and lean into that this year and allow your decisions to be kind of dictated by this said word. Doesn't mean all the time, but you guys get it. There is a lot that has happened in terms of pop culture. So obviously switching gears here, let's get unserious for a moment. There's been a lot going on in pop culture. I'm going to be honest. I haven't kept up like truly the past couple weeks just because like family has been in, my family from Canada. We went and saw our family in Ohio. So I've just been traveling and not really intaking that portion of the internet. But I will say we saw quite a lot happen the past couple weeks with just celebrities, divorces, Kelsey and Swift, obviously slaying. We still don't have Reputation yet announced by Taylor Swift. We have a lot going on. So by next week, I'll be back on that bandwagon to share. One thing I did read, I read it kind of like while I was going to bed for a few nights, so I didn't completely finish it, but I was in the middle of Counting the Cost by Jill Duggar, her autobiography regarding the Duggar family and the 19 and counting. So going to finish that. Will TBD on that. I have still not finished A Court of Mist and Fury. I'm so embarrassed to admit that, but I don't think, number one, I like hardcover books. Like that is really difficult for me to read because if I want to read after I put like Archie down for bed or something, the lights are off. And if I don't have my reading light, then I can't read. It's just like it's not a win-win for me. So I've not finished that. In terms of overall watches, I guess I should say, I've watched a lot too. I've not kept track of a lot though. That's one thing for sure I can tell you. So in terms of anything you should be watching right now, I actually need you to tell me because I've watched a whole lot of nothing. Well, I've watched a lot. I've watched quite a bit of football, surprisingly. But I've also watched, like I rewatched the Barbie movie. The Golden Wedding was on last week. I've still been really in my Face Off era. And I think since we've talked, I might have, what did I finish? Or maybe I didn't finish anything. Maybe I was just Cody Co's YouTube, which him and Kelsey are about to have their baby soon. So anyways, whole lot of like random, and I haven't kept notes on it just because we've been so out of like tune. So I will get back to you guys next week with some really good watches as well as reviews. In terms of launches, we do have a new Buff Bunny launch coming up this Saturday. It's called the Genesis launch. Shall I say coincidental with our communication on religion lately? Genesis? Really, Heidi? You know, like, are you fucking taunting me? So in the beginning, God created Buff Bunny, and then Buff Bunny created Buff Bunny Collection. But this does launch on Saturday. It's a pretty good launch. There's a new corset, like bodysuit. I'm pretty anxious to wear. It's on its way right now. They kind of had a delay in shipment. But I did hear that it was pretty like nipple out if you have bigger boobs. And my boobs have like tripled since I found out I was pregnant. So TBD on that. I was really excited for a bodysuit, but it kind of sucks when, you got to be pretty particular about your bodysuits. And if there is one that I remembered, the bodysuit, it was was it the Ivy bodysuit? Because I think it was kind of like taken after the Ivy crop top. I remember the Ivy bodysuit, and then there was one more I really loved that they did. Buff Bunny's had quite a few good bodysuits, or at least shorts. Like, what's the bodysuit, but like shorts. Fuck, why am I blanking? Jumpsuit. I don't know what the word is right now. I'm blanking, but she's done it well. Like, she's executed it in the past. Well, I'll just be curious to see how this bodysuit comes in. I think, get a medium. So, again, TBD, because I absolutely hate it when you can kind of see, like, the boob bulge on the side and on the back, and it's a pretty back focused corset style bodysuit. I don't know. I'm kind of stressed about it. So anyways, other than that, the best pieces I got outside of the BBL seamless, which I just really always enjoy, the dream sets. There's a dream bra, dream legging in the color heathered gray. I don't know what it did to my ass, but it made it look 5 times larger than it normally is. And it is so good. The bra is a little bit on the bustier side, so I would size up if you want maybe more coverage. But if you are true to size, like I did my true medium, titties were kind of out. Okay, it's a super cute, comfy bra, adjustable straps, but it definitely was a boob moment. So just beware on that. Buyer beware. As always, you can use code DESB for 10% off. The other launches we have coming up is Paragon. They launch on the 9th. It's called the Wild Collection. It's all Reluna and it's all like animal print. Very cutely done. Like it's not your typical print that you kind of see like copied from brand to brand. It's the same like leopardy print we love and we've seen plenty of brands do, but it still looks unique. And I like the spin they did on it. I like the colors that they provided. There is this one bra though. I can't think of what it is called right now. There's the Ritual bra, which I love. And then the other one is like like a halter top. Not a vibe. Do not recommend. They should have done more testing on like bigger busted women because it's so stretchy. Like Reluna fabric is so stretchy. There is no fucking support for your titties. So if you're flat chested or have very minimal boobies, this is going to be so cute on you. And I'm jealous because I love an open back halter bra. But if you have some big girls or you're just chestier in general, or like wide in the lats too, because there's not a lot of like boob coverage. I don't know how to explain it. It's really confusing, but I would definitely make sure to, I wouldn't even say size up, just honestly pass on it. Just pass on it. I'm so serious. And it sucks because like matching sets, you know, you'd be mad if I didn't tell you that. Okay, let me just say it like that. Other than that, not anything else. There was a new Tula mask that came out. It's called the H2 Oasis. It's like a water mask. Oh my freaking Lord. It's so good. It's like, it reminds me of like after sun care, like aloe vera, but like on your face. There's so many good ingredients in it. Super hydrating. I love it. I love it so much. And the applicator, they're so innovative with their applicators. So DESB for 15% off there. Anyways, let's get into the final part of this episode where we're talking all things first trimester and answering some of your questions. Okay, so before we do that, new Hydro Jugs dropped. I don't know what is left. I haven't checked the site today, but these pre-orders went quick. God, I love my Traveler so much. And like, I know you guys too. You guys do too. Because everyone who has messaged me, they're like, oh my God, I got my Traveler. I'm throwing away all my Stanleys right now. Or like, this is the best water bottle. It's changed my water game. Totally agree. Totally agree. I've drank more water recently because I started using this new one and it like motivated me. So here we are. Second thing I'm going to do is reapply some of my, what's it called? Before the filler. Oh, forget the filler. This is by a brand called Lawless. They're actually in Sephora and I've seen them before, but I never really gave them the time of day because like certain injectable style lip glosses scare me. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever tried I think it's literally called injectable, but it like burns the fuck out of your lips. This does not do this, but this is such a good plumping, soothing, like, oh my God, it's so nice. It has such a beautiful cherry tint as well. And the flavor is actually cherry vanilla. So it reminds me of like a Smackers, like lip smackers, whatever we used to do like as kids. So Lawless, forget the filler. At Sephora, they also have an overnight lip treatment. I'll make sure to link it because this shit is fire. They sent me PR. I don't know why, but I will be a returning customer now. Like, I fucking love this stuff. It is so nice. So anyways, first trimester, guys, we are out. Are we out of the woods yet? Are we out of the woods yet? Are we out of the woods yet? Are we out of the woods? Are we in the... Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We're in the second trimester, which is crazy because I feel like you're only in your first trimester for like 2 weeks because you find out you're pregnant and like technically you've only conceived like 2 weeks before on average, but like then they tell you you're like 5 weeks. Like it's such a weird mathematical confusion to me of how we determine pregnancy because when I found out I was pregnant, I had technically just conceived only like 2.5 weeks before, but I was like almost 6 weeks. It's so weird. I don't understand pregnancy. I never will. So anyways, feeling good. The first trimester was really hard. My first podcast ever recapping this first trimester with Maddox was called Toilet Seat DJ. And I was definitely the toilet seat DJ again. Every single morning, it was so debilitating. I would wake up just already not feeling like myself. And it's one of those feelings that gave me so much anxiety continuing in pregnancy because it's like the emotion of having it. It's kind of like, okay, let me take you here. Have you ever had where you're so high that you forget, like your reality feels so different because you're so high that you're like, oh my God, am I stuck? Like, am I stuck in this reality? Like, is this real life? Like, you're so fucking high. And I know some of you guys are out there like, I know exactly what you're thinking. So I'm like, oh my God, I need to go to sleep so I can like wake up and make sure this isn't real. Like, this isn't the way I'm going to see life now. Just me, let me know. So it's kind of how I felt with morning sickness is it created such a panic for me of like, am I ever going to wake up feeling normal again? When am I going to wake up feeling normal again? When am I going to feel normal again? So I like threw up for the first time at my HydroJug trip. So if you guys remember when I went to Palm Springs with HydroJug, that was the first time I threw up. It was our last day. I had woken up. We were supposed to get massages in the morning. Woke up to get that massage. I felt like fucking shit the whole time. I wasn't even able to enjoy myself. And then I get back from the massage. I ran to the bathroom, threw up. And Bailey Turner was like my roommate. Like she was across the hall from me. And I think it was that morning. She was like, did you throw up this morning? I was like, yeah. So it was not fun. So from there on out, I was throwing up pretty much every day for what would have been 6 weeks. 6 weeks. And then as of today, again, I'm almost 14 weeks, but I like threw up this morning. I guess January 2nd, I threw up this morning. And then I was in bed until past 11, which is so unlike me. And it caused me to have so much stress, which is why like I went to the gym later. I recorded later. I started work later. Like my whole day was fucked up. Nothing stresses me out more than not being able to start work on time. It fucking kills me. So anyways, here we are. But I'm still getting sick here and there. Now, this happened pretty regularly with Maddox. I was sick from week like 6 to 19 with him. Few and far between, once I got later in pregnancy, it's not like I was throwing up every single day until 19, but the last time I threw up, I was 19 weeks in 1 day. Core memory. With Archie, I think I threw up twice total. I had a few really bad days, but I had really bad dizziness and headaches with Archie. This time, I have pretty bad dizziness if I get up really fast. Like my heart, my blood pressure just like drops and I like almost black out. However, and I only really get that when I'm pregnant. Let me preface that. However, I've obviously been very sick. So I have no inkling, which I said in last week's podcast, of like what it could be. I do, like in my soul, kind of feel like it's a girl, but I hate saying that because I want to be so clear how I don't give a fuck. Like if it doesn't come out a girl, I'm gonna be okay. Like I have so much pride in being a mother of boys because I get to raise men. I get to raise the next generation of respectable men that our country lacks. You know what I mean? Like I take that role with so much pride to be able to raise a boy that knows how to treat someone's daughter. Like I am so proud of that. So if it's another boy, like I'm made for that shit. Like I'm built to be a boy mom. I'm cool with that. However, naturally, I have a sister. I have a mom. We all fucking have moms, right? Like I know the connection I have with my mom as a woman, and I would also long for that. So let me just preface that. Now I will say, I do feel kind of like girly energy. So I don't know, but I'm okay with it. Again, I'm so okay with it. On the anatomy scan, you guys gave me a lot of tips too of like when they pull up the screen to like tell them to turn the screen off, XYZ. I've seen so many ultrasounds with Archie that it causes me stress. So I would rather almost not fucking see any of the anatomy scan. So when they go try to, find the kidneys or do this or that, and I'm okay with not looking. Because like, number one, don't want to ruin the surprise. But also number two, I don't need to see it. Like I've seen enough. Show me the head. Show me its little, hands. Like show me this side profile picture that I can put on my fridge for motivation. I'm good. Send me on my way. I'm fine. My doctors I've seen so far have been really great. I pee in a cup really well now. And there's been quite a few times in my life where I have missed the cup, and you're like, how did I not know what hole that was going to come out of? Like, let's be fucking for real. We've all pissed on our hands before and we're like, I've had the same pee hole my whole fucking life. Like, why can't I hold a cup under it and capture my piss? So I've peed in my cup really well. Everything has been normal, great. As of today, I was able to hear the heartbeat for the first time. On our ultrasound, we saw it, like we saw the lines, but we didn't like hear it. So it was nice to like hear that. 155 was the heart rate. I have not done any type of baby book. I was religious about this with Maddox and with Archie. Now with Maddox, I think I did it a lot because it was COVID and I was kind of documenting every week. Like we had nothing else to do. Then he went into the NICU and I was glad I documented it. With Archie, naturally I started a book right away because I had just done it with Maddox. And then, well, I guess I did do, 20 weeks pretty consistently. And then by 20 weeks, obviously with the ultrasound and finding out his CPAM, I then kept up with it. Because again, I wanted to document everything. So I had a little bit of motivation with this baby. God, I feel so bad. I haven't done anything. Now I could definitely start today because I think with most of the boys, I think with Maddox and with Archie, I might have backdated a few, but I kind of started at 12 weeks. Like we told everyone about you, whatever. But I just don't know if I'm going to do that this time. Like again, I feel so guilty, but I do chat books, which I wish that they would sponsor me because I fucking love chat books. I do chat books. So I was like, maybe I'll just do my chat books every month and just like document my pregnancy that way. But even since having the kids, like I've only read those books like twice, but I wanted them to be able to have them. But then it's like, think of all the shit your parents have given you. And you're just like, fuck, one more thing to clutter my house. Like, let's be fucking for real, right? So I don't know. I'm so indifferent. I want to document it. I'm just figuring out how. Usually I made all my baby books through Shutterfly. So maybe I'll do it, but only do it like every 2 weeks or I don't know. I would have to just first off start because I have nothing documented. But I've also been holding a lot of emotions. So I don't know. I'm going to ask my therapist what she thinks and go from there, which I am in therapy again. I took about a 6-month break during the summer off of BetterHelp. And the other week I was like, I need a therapist again. Signed up immediately. Literally used my own code, like slay. So I've met with her twice now and it's been nice to just, again, have like a place of like unbiased feedback. So if you guys are struggling, especially early postpartum or early in your pregnancy anxiety is so real. Please go to betterhelp.com/DESB. Use my code because it has been very helpful for me to find a little bit of person who's like unbiased in my life right now. So that's kind of where we're at. I think another question too, a lot of people were so fucking confused that I was pregnant because they thought Wyatt got the snip, which first off goes to show you don't listen to my podcast. Okay. Way to reveal yourself. Just kidding. But also he was going to, like he canceled it the day before. He went to the consult, came back with all of his paperwork. Like I was prepared to take care of him. I was, everything. At this point, I think I was still fucking bleeding. Like I was like 7 days postpartum, maybe 2 weeks postpartum. This was like, get it the fuck done right now. So he ended up going, blah, blah, blah. He was ready, scheduled, and it was 24 hours out or maybe less. And I think all we lost was like a security deposit of like $150 or something. And he was like, Des, I just don't think I should do it. And I was in the middle of a workout. I was sitting on a bench of like, what the fuck do you mean? And he was like, I just don't have a feeling I should do it. Like, we're high emotions. You're newly postpartum. We just gone through this with Archie. Like, I think we just need to give it a minute. So we never went through with it. So for those of you who are like, how did that work? I promise it's not that the vasectomy failed. It's that we didn't go through with it. So let's go through a few questions. First off, I had to laugh at one of my friends, and she'll know exactly who she is, but her question was just like, why am I a cunt? Sending love. Because again, if you know, this is one of my friends. Will Wyatt get snipped after the 3rd? So we plan it. I don't see why not. Like, yeah, it would take, what do they say? For the cow to sing, fat lady sings, or it's not over till the fat lady sings. I don't remember what it is. Whatever. There's something I'm thinking of. But yeah, it would take a lot for him to not get snipped. And he's very open to doing it. It's just, again, we kind of knew we wanted to maybe expand after we talked about it last year, and even early postpartum with Archie. Has Wyatt always wanted kids? Absolutely. He was actually the one in the beginning of our marriage, and when we talked about children, he always wanted 3. And I was like, fuck no, like 2. And I mean, we argued about this, like all in fun and games, but I was like, we both only have one hand. Like, in a car, you have 2 back seats. When you're on a roller coaster ride, we both have a riding partner. Like, it was just always mathematical. On a plane, we both have someone to sit with, like, whatever. So he's always wanted a big family. And he's an only child. So for him to want a sibling for our first, aka Maddox, and then now moving into just having 3, he's very excited. He cried. I didn't even cry. I did cry when he was crying, like whatever, but he was crying. He was so excited. Will you be finding out the gender? So again, no, we're not. It will be a complete surprise. I hope so badly we can keep it a surprise. Like, because again, I've just heard of people having it ruined. I've heard whatever, but I'm not doing any of the extra shit this time. Like, I don't want to do, again, I have a fear of ultrasounds. So I don't want to do the 3D ultrasound. I don't want to do that. I might, just because I really like getting the ultrasound or the stuffed animals with the heartbeat in it. And I know they do that at the ultrasound place I went to, but I don't want, like, I just want to fucking live through this. Like, to be honest, I just want the most normal experience ever. And I don't want to see basically another ultrasound in my whole life. Hair care routine with going to the gym every day. The dry shampoo ain't cutting it. So I would number 1 question what dry shampoo you're working with, because I don't wash my hair every day. I probably wash my hair like once or twice a week. And I'm good. It also could be dependent though, naturally on just your natural oils, but also like your hair color. Like, I noticed when I had darker hair, I could keep my hair dirtier longer. Now that I have like my money pieces, when those start to get greasy, you can tell. But it's also about being able to style your hair properly when dirty. So like, I know, like, I slick my hair back a lot, and that conceals a lot of dirtiness, like that slick back look. But hair care wise, I genuinely don't use anything besides Kevin Murphy. For dry shampoo, I do love Kevin Murphy. However, I've really been loving the company called Ava NYC. I think it's AVA or EVA NYC. And then, Living Proof and Amika have the 2 best dry shampoos ever. And also how you apply dry shampoo matters too. I find that applying it also at night, rubbing it really deep in my roots, kind of dry brushing it through, whatever. But then sometimes it actually lays better in the morning. So maybe just a few different things to try. What are you doing different this pregnancy? Like, I would say kind of everything, but also like nothing. Like, I am just kind of living normal. Like, even right now, I've still been, for example, I'm just sharing like something at the gym. I've still been like hip bridging with the machine, which I hadn't like done before. I kind of took that out right away, but I feel way more confident in my like overall just demeanor in pregnancy, but also my education and now going through it, as well as continuing to educate myself while I was pregnant again, and then postpartum both times. So that's like one thing, but also just like overall food and stuff, just like eating whatever I want, doing what feels right. I have really tried to maintain higher protein this pregnancy. Haven't been always successful at it, but the past like 3 weeks I've been way better at it. I've also been getting the meals prepared for me and sent to me from Factor Meals, Factor. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I was going to try Factor, and then I was going to try Flex Pro meals. I spend so much money at the grocery store, specifically in pregnancy, for food that I end up having like an aversion to. Like I'll be like, ooh, this sounds so good. And then the next minute, like never fucking mind, like throw it away, throw it down the drain. So I found that having meals prepared for me, I tend not to get so much of the ick, and I actually save money because I spend, $100 a week for like a few meals that I actually eat. And I don't spend hundreds of dollars on meat, cottage cheese, poultry, eggs, whatever, that I end up not eating and have to throw away. So those are two things I'm doing differently this pregnancy, like trying some prepared meals, trying to aim for high protein. Workouts are like exactly the same. I have noticed, and again, I'm still very, very early along. My core has already significantly changed very fast. Your body just whips into shape by the second, by the third, by the fourth, by the fifth. So I've been really, really conscious about how I'm working my core. And really trying to focus on also learning and continuing to educate myself on pregnancy prep. So not always focusing so deeply on contracting my pelvic floor, but learning how to also relax it. That's super, super important to do during pregnancy and during labor at those end phases. So kind of already preparing myself for like what I'll have to continue to learn and do differently. But those are a few things. I'll continue to keep you updated, but I'm just still super early along. Also, like I'm not keeping track of caffeine at all. I mean, like I know where I should be at. So if that's an energy drink, if that's a coffee and that's it, like that's all I'm doing, but I'm not like stressing myself out about it. Someone said dating advice. I don't have a lot of dating advice. Listen, I couldn't imagine dating today. Like with how much we overshare of ourselves, I feel like I would be so turned off by 90% of people. and like, I feel like I would also give people the ick too. Like it's such a weird scenario to go into a date now and kind of know exactly what that person is. Cause you could like stalk their social media, or like stalk their TikTok. But I feel like just always here's the odd thing I would say, be open to heartbreak, because it's so cheesy to say, but every heartbreak leads you closer to not heartbreak. Doesn't mean it's easy, doesn't mean it's fun, but you're always learning along the way. So I think if you open yourself up more to the possibility of getting hurt, the more you're going to be prepared for not getting hurt and finding that person that you won't settle finding the person you will settle for. Am I saying that right? You won't settle for someone who isn't actually yours is kind of what I'm saying. So I wish I could like give you more. I feel so removed from dating. Like, listen, Wyatt and I have been together since 2015. I have not technically like gone out on dates since like 2014. So I feel very removed from that part of life. The last time when I was dating, I was on Tinder for like a hot minute. That was like the last app, and it was new. And Yik Yak, TBT. Mindset question. Your view on having multiple kids versus other moms saying never, or less than one, or, whatever. Having kids is not for the weak. Having kids is also not for every woman. And I think knowing that about yourself is very important. By you choosing to remain childless, is you taking having kids seriously, right? Like you're taking the role of a parent very seriously and you're choosing, hey, that's not for me and I know it. I think if that is you, you would have to have a very deep-rooted alignment in your soul and know that about you, because I never wanted kids. Never. Oh my God. I've told you guys this. When I was like 16, 15 even, I remember begging my mom to let me get a hysterectomy, like begging her to let me get my tubes tied, whatever I could know how to call it, right? Like I was like, please, I just never want to have kids. Never. Oh my God. She'll tell you now to this day. She's like, I don't know how you're having 3, but I didn't want to have kids. So if you would have allowed me to make that decision at such a young age, I would have quite literally killed myself right now if I couldn't have had that option, right? So we mature and we change. So I think the only thing that worries me about people who want to remain childless is in your early 20s, late 20s, maybe that sounds like a good idea. Maybe in your early 30s, that sounds like a good idea. But all of a sudden, life slows down. You're not out partying all the time. You're not, your friends have moved on to a different phase of their life too. And maybe you regret it. And then you try, maybe it's harder for you, or maybe it's not possible for you, XYZ. So that's the only thing that worries me. And it always will worry anyone, right? The what ifs. But I just know how rewarding it is to be a mom myself. And I just couldn't picture it any other way. Like that's what we're built for as women. Like that's how we're designed so intricately to have those, what do you want to call them? Instincts of just like motherliness. Now, on the other hand, I would argue we see some fucked up cases where moms shouldn't have been moms and they hurt their children or stuff like that. So to make a choice for you, that is always your choice. I'm never going to sit here and judge it. That's just how I feel when I look back at my personal choice of at one point never wanting them and then moving into a part of my life where I did want them. And now knowing what comes with it, I can, number one, see why some people would never want to, would never fulfill it, never want to fulfill it. But also number two, I can see how if you were to have the feeling, you would realize what you would be missing too. You know what I mean? So, and again, that's not like women must have babies. Like, absolutely not. I'm just saying what a rewarding feeling it is to be a mother. So I don't know. Like I said, my mindset, that's just my mindset. And I think everyone can do whatever the fuck they want. I want to make that so clear. How do you always have bad bitch energy asking for me? That's so funny because I don't feel like I do all the time. I feel like I've been in my soft era recently, but a lot of it can be explained why. I've just been so hormonal and emotional. Literally yesterday, 2 days ago, number one, I was driving back home listening to Taylor Swift. I'm talking like original songs, like debut. I'm listening to OG songs. Hey, Steven. I'm fast forwarding. I'm listening to Fearless. Fast forwarding. I'm listening to All Too Well 10-minute version. I'm crying in my car. I'm hormonal. I'm emotional. And then yesterday, I went to Target, bought new like cups for the kids. Archie kind of needed like a straw cup. So I bought him a new straw cup, came home, misplaced within 2 minutes, like the internal straw. And if you're a mom, you get it. They come with like 10 million bells and whistles. I'm like, did I throw it away already? I searched through the trash. I went outside to the dumpster. I'm searching through the dumpster. I almost start fucking crying over this straw. I'm like, why am I so fucking stupid? And why do straws keep going missing? Children's straws in their cups are an equivalent to losing fucking socks in the laundry. Where do they go? Where's the top of that cup? Where it's like finding bobby pins in college. You're like, where'd all my bobby pins go? They just disappear. I don't know how else to say it. So anyways, I've been emotional. I have been emotional. I feel like my bad bitch energy has been a little ruptured. However, I think at the end of the day, when I choose to show up every day, whether if it's for 10 people or 10,000 people, my goal is to always give that same energy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always gonna show up like a million people are watching. Like a million people are begging to hear what I say. In reality, they're not. In reality, they're not. You know, that, oh, well, everyone's been asking. That's kind of like my energy for anything I do. Like, I'm always having the energy that everyone wants to know. And 90% of people don't, but it's the confidence that you bring in what you share and what you're passionate about. That's what gets people to buy in. That's what people believe in. And then all of a sudden you start believing you too. You start to believe in you too. So, you know, I'm not perfect at it every day. It's something you have to actively choose, you know, when you wake up, how am I going to show up today? But especially now with this big weight off my chest, no pun intended, because the weight is in my belly. But like, I'm like, man, everyone wants to hear from me again. Everyone's missed me. I'm fucking cackling because it is so delusional. It's such a delusional way to go about it. But it's just showing up, being unapologetically you, and just knowing that like those who fuck with you will fuck with you and those who don't. If there's one thing I walk away from the past, year, specifically 2 years, specifically 3 years, specifically since I've been doing social media, is I don't give a fuck what anyone says about me, especially if they have never met me in real life. If they have never had real interaction with me, if they have never sat down and talked to me, you guys can get as much out of me here as I overshare. Oops, there goes my phone. Because I do overshare. However, you still will not ever know me until you meet me. In the few people that I've had the honor to meet over the years at like different things I've hosted or meetups or met randomly or whatever, I feel like I've always had great interactions with people. So like, I hope that touched you in some way when we met forever ago, you know? And I hope that gave you a glimmer of me being the same person that I am now. I mean, you will always change. I always want to evolve. But like overall, like I'm the same bitch back from being DESB fit. Okay, like let's make that very clear. However, people are always going to paint a different picture that they want of you when they're insecure. It's just how it works. And that always pisses people off so much is, well, I'm not insecure. Like, fuck yeah, you are. Yes, you are. If that is your immediate response, yes, you are insecure. Now, am I the most secure person? No. I'll have my faults. I'll have my days where I'm like, man, I don't mean shit, or this person's better than me or whatever. Like, we all do. It's called being fucking human. And it's also called being in an area of life where we can never shut off, right? We're constantly seeing other people. We're constantly comparing ourselves, etc. But at the end of the day, I know who I am. Those closest to me know who I am. Those that choose to listen to me intimately and choose to get to know me as intimately as possible via social media, I would relatively say know who I am, quote unquote. But if you have shit to talk, if you have things to say, if you have things to believe, and you have never met me in person, have never interacted with me in person, I don't care about you. Like, I don't care about what you have to say and how to be negative. So bad bitch energy is right there. It's like you choose whose words you let affect you. And like Taylor Swift said, snakes and stones won't break my bones. And let me say, we don't need snake energy in 2024 besides reputation, Taylor's version. Okay. So I'm not always a bad bitch. You're not always a bad bitch. No one's always a bad bitch. I think of the biggest bad bitch when it comes to my head, bad bitch. I think Meg Thee Stallion immediately. And then it reminds me of her song, which I think is such a good reminder to like listen to sometimes is, what did she say? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, bad bitches have bad days too. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, bounce back, how bad bitch always do. Like, it's so silly, right? Like, it's just like a catchy song, but it's so true. Like, anyone's going to have a fault in their day, a fault in their year, whatever. But it's up to you how you choose to bounce back. It's up to you how you choose to show up. It's up to you to let a bad day dictate a bad week, a bad month, a bad year, or to shake it off, feel your emotions, sit in the suck, and move the fuck on. And I think that's one thing that I've just continued to kind of learn and embody as I've become a mom, but also just as I've matured. Like, bro, I'm going to be 29 this year. I'm going to be 29 with 3 kids. There is no reason I need to act like a fucking 18-year-old high schooler and be petty or immature, like, to anyone, right? It's like, if it doesn't affect me in my daily life, I don't care. And that's never also like disrespectful to anyone in your life or anyone in your circle if you choose to operate that way. Because it's like, at the end of the day, you have to protect you. You have to protect your family. You have to protect your own personal boundaries. How people choose to feel their own emotions is up to them. That's another great lesson going into 24. You can't allow other people's perceptions of you and the emotions they have attached to that dictate your own self-worth, dictate your own self-image, dictate your own view of yourself, or else you're just going to spiral. Oh my God, am I the problem? Am I annoying? Am I mean? Am I too loud? Am I, whatever. Other people perceive everything differently. Like, even all of you listening to me right now, you perceive what I'm saying differently. You perceive how I look differently. You perceive my words differently. Like, we all have different perception. Like, life is so, what's the word? Objective? Or is it subjective? Don't mind me. It's 7:12 p.m. Okay. My words are kind of done for the night. But we all see different versions of the same person. We all hear different versions of the same song, etc. So just keep focusing on you. And I think that's such a good question to end on, because we kind of go full circle here, talking about the new year, talking about new energy, talking about how to treat ourselves, draw new boundaries. And at the end of the day, just live. I don't want to say live unbothered, because I think that's so unrealistic. Oh, I'm unbothered. It's like, no, you're not. I know for a fact you read Reddit today and you were fucking bothered, okay? So I don't think it's the word of like live unbothered. I think it's maybe just the choice of what bothers you versus what doesn't, and kind of operating out of that. So I hope you guys have a beautiful Sunday. Thank you for always hanging with me. I'm so excited to take you guys through another, hopefully, beautiful journey. And I should say my other journeys were very beautiful and I'm so grateful for the outcome. But again, that's not ever to minimize how I felt during them. And I'm allowed to feel how I felt in those emotions. And I know you guys agree. So just validating that for my personal purposes. But every Sunday, new episode. I'm excited for this year. Excited to just take you guys along. And again, you never know what you get here. So it really is just like rally and rage every single Sunday. So if you have any new episode requests, topic requests, new segment requests, I don't know, anything, the more you guys help me and give me ideas, the more I can help too. Because sometimes by the end of the day, I'm burnt out of like ideas of what I want to talk about or something. So if there's stuff that kind of rings true to your life right now and how I can bring light to that, or bring positivity or advice or anything of that sort, or direct you to BetterHelp, code DESB, let me know. Hope you guys have a beautiful Sunday and we'll chat next week.